Hey everyone, in today's video, we're going to take a little tour of the city of Bend and learn about the different sections that we have to offer. So whether you're already living here trying to explore a little bit different part of town and learn about what's the best fit for you, or you're totally new trying to find out what's this all about and which section of town are you ready for, well, we're going to go and take an exploration right now. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pull up a map and kind of lay out the different sections of Bend so that you get an understanding of what we're talking about. So if you look at this map here, you can see that we've got it broken down into 4 sections: northeast, southeast, northwest, and southwest. And there's a couple ways we describe that. Some people would say it's the I-90 or the 97 freeway going north and south. Some people would say it's where you are in relation to the river. But either way, you kind of vary in those gray areas, kind of find the different sections of town so that you know what we're talking about. And mostly you're going to know it by the street names as you go to different sections of town. But it really helps you kind of understand a little bit of a different pattern. And we're going to talk about a couple of the different neighborhoods. So the neighborhoods that I'm talking about today, we're going to talk about the Orchard District up in Northeast. We're going to talk about the Old Farm District in Southeast. We're going to talk about Century West out on the southwest side, and we're going to talk about Aubrey Butte in Northwest. So let's take a few minutes, let's go explore that and see what you think. So as we talk about each section of Bend, and we get familiar with Northeast, Southeast, Northwest, and Southwest, it's almost hard to track what the population and the growth is, because each section has exploded over the last, let's say, 20 to 50 years, where they've had different growth spurts. So I would say we start in the northeast section as probably the original neighborhoods that were some of the oldest homes. You know, there certainly was some in southeast as well. There was some in the west side as well. But as we kind of got away from the mountains on the other side of the river, you kind of started to see the development of Bend as kind of the early 1900s kind of started. Then you start to see over the last 20 years the development onto the west side and getting more into the attraction of being closer into the mountains, closer into the activities that the forests offer, and some of the things that has carved itself out around Bend. So there's a lot of growth. It's hard to track exactly which one's in the lead, which one's the highest population, which one's the kind of most growth currently, but we've seen a lot of attractive benefits coming to each section of town over the last 15 years. So probably one of the biggest ones right now, I see Southeast just keeps blowing up. The west side's been on a big hot trend for a while, but Southeast is really kind of making a move, and we'll see what some of that area starts to develop and look like. So let's go take another look. All right, for those of you that are watching this video, as you're thinking about making a move, my information should pop up on the screen right here. Whether you're doing this move in a week, a month, several months, a year, it's not too early to start the conversation. My team and I, we'd love to help. Let us know. All right, so if we're going to get more specific about each of the areas, let's talk a little bit more in detail. I don't have exact data on population or history because this town has grown so quickly over the last, let's say, 20 years. But I just kind of took a quick look, and, you know, Northeast is one of the areas that really started its early development as homes and neighborhoods had started getting built. If you look at some of these names on the east side of town, we talk about the Orchard District. Well, as you might imagine, that was probably the area most dedicated to farming trees, fruit trees, you know, agriculture that was designed to have, you know, a lot to offer in that part of town. And then as you go to the Old Farm District, you're going to get a little bit bigger, more rural land, bigger fields, different types of pastures set up. So really kind of a different, you know, factor of, but a little bit further away from the river. So you can imagine as the landscape was developed, we're a little bit further away from the mountains, we're a little bit further away from the river. Out on the east side, you're getting a little bit different. So when we talk about Northeast, some of those older homes, a lot of them, you know, built in the 1900s, 1920s, things that, you know, smaller homes with bigger properties that now have really seen a lot of that development come in. And we talk about Northeast as probably some of the early areas that had big subdivisions and neighborhoods built. So from the southeast to the northeast, you got a pretty wide variety of how those have developed and what the opportunity looks like, but a pretty exciting part of town. Then we shift over to the other side where we've seen a lot of growth over the last few years. So a lot of new subdivisions popping up in the west side, northwest. Aubrey Butte's probably one of the more aged subdivisions around here. You know, Aubrey Butte's kind of known for being a cone-like mountain in the middle of kind of the outer side of town, where everybody built really nice homes on really nice pieces of property that have views in all the different directions. So if you're looking for the part of town that really offers a lot with the Cascade Mountain views, well, northwest might be the spot for you, southwest might be the spot for you. So Aubrey Butte's, you know, a lot of those luxury homes, a lot of those more established homes going to come at a higher price point than if we were over in the Orchard District. Not always, but in average cases. And then when we compare southeast to southwest, again, a little bit more affordable, bigger properties on the east side, and a lot of newer luxury homes. Let's talk about Century West. I kind of look at that area as your trek to get up to Mount Bachelor, but also a huge attraction with Tetherow Golf Course, Broken Top neighborhoods, some of those attractions that really bring a different type of crowd with the country clubs and the golf courses and some of the things that come with that lifestyle and that architecture of that modern living. So there's a quick summary of all of these different types of sections of Bend, and I hope it was helpful as you learn a little bit more. All right, so what else is there to talk about as we're coming through the neighborhoods, understanding the different sections of town? Well, is there a weather difference? There's a little bit of a weather difference. It's Bend and it's the mountains, but with that, elevation changes. So the west side, whether you're in northwest or southwest, is generally going to be a little bit higher elevation, northwest especially. So it might get a little bit colder, might get a little bit more snow at that time of year. Whereas the east side, a little bit more into the plains as we kind of get onto the other side of the river. Northeast, not going to get as much snow as you trend out down into the flatter area. You just won't see as much snow at certain times of year. And, you know, it's going to be a seasonal change. We've got all 4 seasons. We've got a great opportunity with the variety that Bend offers, but there's definitely a difference in the different sections of town. So important to note that. And the last thing, traffic. Is traffic a big deal where you live? Well, it's not really that big of a deal where we live. Certain areas are going to have more traffic than others. You know, it usually kind of trends with what type of activities are happening. So in the middle of winter, the traffic might be getting up north, getting out west to Mount Bachelor, and what's the best way to get there. On Memorial Day weekend, it might be which way do you avoid Highway 97 because everybody's coming to town for that exciting weekend of camping and fishing and all the outdoor activities. So it really kind of depends on where you're going and what you're trying to do. Most people would say in Bend, you can get anywhere in about 10 to 15 minutes, and not much for stoplights. There's a few in town, but we're all about the roundabouts. We're all about the ways that you can make getting from one part of town to the other as easy as possible. Lots of people doing it on bikes even. Gotta love that. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Which area are you most interested in so far? I'm curious. Will you leave me a comment? I'd like to get some feedback.
If you're thinking about making the move, we've created the ultimate relocation guide. It's something that we've designed to save you a ton of time and research. And if you click in the comments below, we'd be happy to send you a copy free of charge. That's right, free. We want to make sure that you, your friends, your family, if you're thinking about making the move to Bend, you need more information, you need some resources to help you on this journey, we're the team to take care of you.
All right, one more note to add real quick. We were talking about traffic and roundabouts and getting from one side of town to the other pretty easily. We do have public transportation, not a lot of talk about it. It's accessible to get you to the airport up in Redmond, to Lapine, you know, all the different north-south sections you would take on Highway 97. It'll also get you from the east side to the west side, up and down 3rd Street. But most people, when they're talking about buses, it's from the bottom of the river up back to the top of the river where you parked your car. It might be getting from town up to Mount Bachelor when you're getting up there to go mountain biking or skiing. We do have buses and we do have public transportation, but we also do a lot of Uber around here. So there's a couple ways that once you get here, you know, it's easy to get around. And if you do fly into Redmond. You don't fly into North Bend, which is down in Coos Bay. A lot of people do make that mistake. You'll fly into the Redmond Bend Airport, and that's what, 20 minutes up the road, just north on Highway 97, maybe 30 minutes, depending on what part of town you're going to. But if you're on that north side, whether it's northeast or northwest, you're going to be a little bit closer to the airport, a little bit closer to Redmond, as you need to get that transportation in and out. So there you go. All right, so you know that I love making these videos. At least most of you know. And if you don't know, There's one thing I love more than making these videos to tell you about Bend, and that's helping families like you and my friends all across the country that are thinking about making the move to Central Oregon. Well, you'll see my information posted below, and it's not too early to start the conversation. I don't care if you're moving in a week, if you're coming to visit in a month, if you're starting to plan for that trip in a year. Let's start the conversation and get you guys together with what information is important. You're watching these videos, that's a big step. But we want to be able to help them. So get us your information to us, help us find and connect with those family members and friends all across the country, because we'd love to help them. Well, we're bringing this video to a close. We got a chance to learn a little bit about the different sections of Bend. We got to learn a little bit about the different access points, things that you'd want to know as far as different neighborhoods that might be attractive, ways that you can get from one side of town to the other. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. But as always, my name's Theron Heinlein. I'm part of the Lifestyle and Bend team with eXp Realty. I'm partnered with Joshua Grossman, and all our goal is to help you learn about Bend, Central Oregon, and give us a call so we can help you make the move and learn a little bit about it yourself. Come visit. Can't wait to see you around town. Let's go.